in action against all of these law firms whose political ideology doesn't comport with his. And we've kind of waited to see the point at which he would target you specifically. I feel like he's been dancing around you for a long time. That moment has finally come within the last 24 hours where he did target you specifically. Can you explain what he did?
Yeah. So look, we have been waiting, as you say, for Donald Trump to continue his political retribution activities. We talked on a prior video about how he singled me out in a Department of Justice speech, called me a bad person, said that I was in favor of communism. What we have this week is a memorandum from the White House to the Department of Justice, the Attorney General, the Department of Homeland Security, that basically begins by saying, again, what a terrible human being I am, and then tells the Department of Justice to instruct its lawyers to look out for and to find frivolous legal filings by law firms such as my own, but others as well, and to be aggressive in pursuing sanctions in those instances, also to presumably file bar complaints. And the kicker is, Brian, that even if a judge doesn't find something frivolous, even if a bar doesn't find something frivolous, if there's something that Pam Bondi thinks is really frivolous, they should call it to the attention of the White House, because the White House might be able to impose its own sanctions on law firms.
Well, what does that even mean in practice? What can the White House do to impose sanctions on a private law firm that doesn't even have business in front of the federal government?
Well, but this is the thing, right? Like, what we have been watching for weeks now is Donald Trump trying to impose unilateral sanctions from the White House on law firms like the prior firm I was at, law firms like Covington and Burling, law firms like Paul Weiss, which, has now disgraced itself by settling with the Trump administration. And those involved the removal of security clearances and the banning of government contracts, also entering government buildings and the like. Things that are totally unconstitutional that courts have now blocked in the case of the one law firm that went to court over it. Donald Trump is doing this because he wants to project power and instill fear on the recipient. So you're quite right. Like, where does he get off doing this? And really, what's the practical impact, particularly if these actions are later found to be illegal by federal judges? But from Donald Trump's standpoint, he has still made a point, right? He is still able to intimidate a lot of lawyers and a lot of law firms to not cross him. So what he's hoping in this latest memorandum that targets me and the bar as a whole is that we will all back down. We'll all think twice about filing a lawsuit. We'll all think twice about taking on a client. I mean, I can tell him, for my part, it's not going to work. I already issued a statement saying we will never negotiate with the White House. We will never seek to find common agreement with them. I mean, I wouldn't expect a firefighter to try to negotiate with an arsonist. And for my part, I will never, and my law firm will never seek accommodation with Donald Trump and his White House. But there are law firms that will, and we've seen that happen, and it is a shame that it's happening. But that's why he's going after me, because he is hoping to try to score some points, and maybe even if I don't back down, others do.
Marc, I'm going to put